Hi, welcome to this channel. So many of our friends message me asking me whether I can continue on to share on ancient Wing Chun culture. So today I like to share with you that I have moved into sharing the ancient Chinese culture. And ancient Wing Chun is based on ancient Chinese culture. So what I share on the ancient Chinese culture applied to ancient Wing Chun culture. And of course it applied to Qigong, to meditations, to Chinese martial arts, to many things. And for the ancient Wing Chun culture, as in this channel, we have about 10 years of information there. Also, in my books, we have details, technical informations on ancient Wing Chun culture. So that is enough to be said, or enough sharing there. If anybody like to investigate on it seriously, just watch this channel and also the books, studying the books. One will get a good idea of what is going on. And so right now I'm moving into the ancient Chinese culture, because there are many things there which is really critical that we need to know. Now, just to give you a feel of what is going on, why is it so important to get into this ancient Chinese culture? What I can tell you today is the traditional center of Chinese culture, of ancient Chinese culture, is in a really chaotic situations, which means majority of Chinese has lost its traditional center of their culture. So when a culture, you lost the traditional center, so it's like a ship lost the gyroscope. It goes everywhere and also nowhere. And when the traditional center of Chinese culture is lost, you can expect you cannot get result from that practice, or you cannot get full result from that practice. It is a really serious stuff, extremely serious stuff, okay? Like today, as I mentioned in my other video, you have people in China, the young people in China, who is going in the directions of exposing fake traditional Chinese martial art, and they also exposing the fake traditional Chinese medicines and so forth. It's just like going in the directions of anti-Chinese culture. On the other hand, you have those people who keep pushing for magic, mysterious Chinese martial art or Qigong or meditation, which is practically, it is an illusion, a delusion, or living in a fantasy land. So this is the problem when a culture loses its traditional center. Nobody knows what it is, but it is guessing. I guess, I think, in my opinion, I believe so. Well, you look at those in China today who want to expose the fake traditional Chinese martial arts or Chinese medicine. Did they get anything out from that? Well, you can look into it. They don't even understand what's going on. Same with those who promoting magic, qi, and all those kind of stuff. Can they get result? No result. In fact, those are actually create more damage to the already damaged ancient Chinese culture. Okay? So, the Chinese culture is still there. The issue is the traditional center or the gyroscopes of that ship is lost for most people. And this thing started 1900. So there is something called May 4th movement, which is to modernize Chinese culture or modernize Chinese language and so forth. And then in 1965, you hit the cultural revolutions. This thing is, for most Chinese today, we can say it is wiped out. It is that serious. Okay? That's why you look at today's movement of exposing fake traditional Chinese martial arts or Chinese medicines or so forth. You look at them, their behavior is they are following the cultural revolution's behavior of 1965. Those are not the ancient Chinese culture. Those are different type of culture. Those are communist type of culture. Always have to expose this, expose that, get rid of this, get rid of that. And on the other hand, those who are promoting magic, those also is not traditional, the Chinese culture with the traditional center. If we're really going chaos completely today, okay? Now, so for past 100 years, because of this modernizations and communism and everything, it just in the deep chaos. And people less and less study what is Chinese culture and so forth, so forth. Now, of course, I'm saying here, should you believe me? I don't expect you to believe me. So let's look into evidence. Okay. So this is Nan Huai-Chin, Mr. Nan Huai-Chin, late Mr. Nan Huai-Chin, one of the top Chinese scholar, Zen scholar, or Zen practitioner, internal practitioner, yoga practitioners, meditation practitioner, a guy who accomplished many things. Yeah. Okay, this is Mr. Nan Huai-Chin. So prior to his pass away, he is really concerned on the ancient Chinese culture. So today I want to share with you one of his video prior to his pass away. The link is under here. This is what he said. So this is dark because he was in old age. His eyes doesn't feel comfortable when you get into really strong light. Okay, so you need to rest so that they dim out the light. And this is at his 90 years old, so forth, okay, that age, really old age. So here he said that when I was young, I worried after the May 4th movement how the Chinese culture is going to continue on. And then here he said after the May 4th movement, 1990, something like that, 1919, 1919, okay, 1919. And there is the Cultural Revolution, which is the 1965. And then he said that let's not lost or confused in the direction. Now it is a mass day in Chinese culture because the traditional center has lost. Most people do not know what is the traditional center anymore. So they could not grasp the center, the traditional center. So there is no direction. They cannot find the direction. This is a state of really, really serious problem. And in the meditations and the Tao practice, please do not believe in on whatever it is. Another word is that don't believe on what is the hearsays and everything which is you can hear or see in this in general today. So this is the reality. Okay, this is the reality of Chinese culture. Seriously, I study with many teachers, okay, and also I study Mr. Nan Huai-Chin's teaching. Without this past generations, like Mr. Nan Huai-Chin, today they are in their 90s, that generations, we really don't know what it is. You look at today's like martial art, Qigong and so forth, which including Wing Chun. If you look at that, is mostly is creations of 1960, 1950. It is not what traditional Chinese culture is about. Well, people might say, well, we follow the traditional. We have the Bai Si this way, Bai Si that way. Are you serious? I can see even in many documents is citing the the Boxer rebellion in the 1900s. Okay, so one of the documents we can find in the West is talking about Chinese martial art and then citing the General Qigong, and right away jump to the 1900s Boxer rebellion, saying that the Boxer have trained in martial art. That's misleading. Many of today's stuff has been influenced by the Boxer rebellion, which is try to fight the Western army, thinking their body can go against bullets. And what is that? That's cult. That is not the proper traditional center of ancient Chinese culture. Those are cult. Those are the things which Nan Huai-Chin, Mr. Nan Huai-Chin asked people have to watch out. Don't follow those stuff. Because today, those cult get into movie, get into fiction, Chinese fiction, and then it just spread to the entire world, and people thought, oh yeah, that is Chinese culture. That's not Chinese culture there. Those are a part of problematic Chinese culture. We can say that. Okay, because those are cult, those type of cults happen in the history for thousands of years too. So you have those type of element in the culture, and you have the proper one like the teaching of the Zen and so forth, and the proper Taoist teaching, proper martial art teaching, which is like from general Qigong, not those boxer rebellion, cult, brainwash, and all those things, making mysterious stuff. So today, when you find out that, oh, this Qi, mysterious, this Qi and Fajing, don't you see that? Those are from the boxer rebellion type of thinking. And those people today who against the ancient Chinese culture, or against the ancient Chinese martial arts, or keeping challenging with MMA, those are what? Those are communist type of thinking. Those are not ancient Chinese culture. Do they know anything about ancient Chinese culture? No, they don't. Even though they are Chinese, they born in China. So this is how serious is it. You can have the entire 1,000 years of culture collapse, vanish, gone. So what I'm sharing now, if you notice for past few days, past few days, and you can see that past will continue on, is I'm taking the Chinese culture, okay? I want to try my best to share the traditional center of the Chinese culture, the ancient Chinese culture, so everybody be able to get result from the practice and be able to know what is the ancient Chinese culture is about. So whoever can be able to see it, be able to get result, be able to understand. And of course, for those who want to have recreation, this channel, as I mentioned before, is not for them. This is a channel for education and technology. I do this for ancient Chinese culture. And if it is within my power, I will do it for all other culture too. Because that's the goal of this channel. So, if you look at past few days on my video, after the February 14, 2021, when I discontinues or I complete my Wing Chun sharing, what I do, I actually sharing the specifications of ancient Chinese culture and its traditional center. Specification. So why specifications? Well, I treat this like a product. When you want to go buy an iPad, okay, or tablet computer, everybody can check what type of display, what type of CPU, how much memory is this, what type of application it can use, right? Those are specifications. So if you want to know what is the traditional center of the ancient Chinese culture, which is applicable in the Wing Chun practice, in Qigong practice, in Chinese martial art practice, in meditation practice, as soon as you know the specification, so it will like buying a tablet computer or iPhone or a smartphone. You can ask, so what is the display specification? What is the CPU? How fast it's going to run? And what kind of application it can use? The minute you know the specification, you get the traditional center, because now you have the gyros to say, hey, this is this fast, this is have this much memory. The same thing. I share with you what to focus. Like in martial arts, you focus on what? Momentum. That's the bottom line. Internal Qigong, whatever, the states, what type of physiological state you can get in, and what is that state doing. Also, for example, like what is internal, what is external art? It's well defined. Also, the state of accomplishment, what type of level you need to reach, or state you need to reach or to accomplish in order for you to be to know what it is and get the result. And if you cannot get into the state, you know that something is wrong with the process, and thus you need to ask people, get help. So I'm putting out specifications in the past few days. You use that specification to look into, to examine a martial art, a meditations. Right away you can see, is that a reasonable, working system, or it is not. So this is very important. Another thing is scientific verifications. The specifications, I always put the scientific verifications. You want to talk about momentum? Say for example, in a Shaolin short strike momentum, every Shaolin short strike momentum is like that. As soon as short strike art, it has to be like that. Okay, so this is in the Resurrecting Wing Chun. You can measure it with today's modern tools on your strength, on your momentum, and so forth. So, in order to notice the traditional center of ancient Chinese culture, in order to be able to get result, one needs this. So this is for restoring the traditional Chinese culture's center in today's language, in scientific way. Only that way what we practice, what we study is meaningful. It is no longer, I believe so, I think so. You look at the Qigong today, or martial art today, like in the Wing Chun or in practicing Qigong and so forth. How many? I think so, I believe so. This is how my grandmaster teach me, and you should follow me completely. How many of those you can find? Yet, is there anything to do with this? Which is the modern days of saying the traditional center. So, this channel, I am going to share with you this. And those who like to study the ancient Wing Chun culture seriously, the details is there. And also, all these specifications of traditional center of the ancient Chinese culture, it is also here. Why? Because the common denominator here is the traditional center of the ancient Chinese culture. Like for example, years ago I coined the 6 core element. That is for this. Anybody who practices martial art has to answer to the details of the 6 core element, as I share it here really clearly. And even in this, in all these books, other books, it is based on 6 core element, because those are the specifications. Need to know and need to be mastered if you really want to be skillful on things. So the directions of this channel will continue on. And if you didn't watch my video for past few days, please go watch it, because every one of that video is talking about one item in the specifications. If you really seriously want to buy tablet computer, we need to know the specifications. So this is to share with you today.